just turn your mic on. How are you today?
Yeah, good, thanks, Spider. Yeah, feeling good after the 250 race just then. It was a bit close with Bailey Puritan, but yeah, no, tough conditions. But it looks like these super sport guys have got it in for them. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But looks like a couple of guys are trying to delay the start or something at the moment.
Okay, those three in pit lane, I mean, what would you be thinking? You'd probably be thinking, you don't want to wish bad luck on people, but hoping for a red flag, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't know. The guys in pit lane are probably pretty smart. They've jumped in the right time to get their wet, so they'll, yeah, maybe at the back, but I'm sure they'll make their way through the field in this 15 lapper for sure.
The rain has backed off, I'd say. It was quite heavy there when they were actually getting out on the grid, but it has backed off, so what a game changer. And that bike, I can tell you that I thought was Mr. Hugenboosen, is number 15, and that is Andrew Evans, a local man. Right, we've got to start. That is John Ross, it's dragging his feet on the ground, but that's a great start for John Ross earlier. This is a 15-lap race too, a long race. We've got 4 pit lane starters, as I mentioned, Reece Holmes, Jeremy Holmes, the home show, and Seth Devereaux and Andrew Evans there. So they're all away as well and tailing onto the back of the field. It won't be long before these people start getting... Look at that lead for John Ross, sorry.
Yeah, he must be on wets. He's just taken off from the field. Yeah, good on him, a good choice. I'd watch for Seth Devereaux coming through. I remember him last year, very strong in the wet conditions, so I'm sure he'll make his way through pretty soon. But yeah, John's doing the right thing for his championship, so hopefully he can just hold on and keep that gap.
Second place, Toby Summers here, takes a wide line around the thing. Actually, I'm looking over here. It looks like there's a shiny seal on the inside of that hairpin there, Jake. I haven't been over onto the track there, and it looks like it may be better traction on the outside. What's your take on that?
Yeah, definitely noticed in the 250 race there's a couple of rear seals around the circuit which are a bit shiny and slippery, so you have to keep the bike upright there and stay off that front brake. But looks like, is that Al Hugi who's just run off?
We're just going to get, we've got Scott Kinder joined us in the commentary tower as well. We're going to get some binoculars on there and see what, unfortunately what's happened is our front window in the tower is wet, so that inhibits our vision a little. But we look off to one side as Kirsten Summers is joining us in the commentary tower, and she's flew in yesterday to support second place man so far, and that is Toby Summers. In fact, look at, Seth Devereaux, what a huge slide there. So Toby Summers has dropped back to about 4th. From a pit lane start, Seth Devereaux got up there in 2nd, and the 2 corners before the dipper there in the fast left-hander, he got right sideways, but he's come back in all right as John Ross comes along and checks out for his first lap, and he's probably half a front straight ahead of everybody else at the moment. So, wow. Game changer this rain, isn't it? Definitely a game changer. And the other thing we haven't had this weekend is any practice in the wet. So no one's had any practice in the wet to set up their bike and all that. It's all previous knowledge and track knowledge. There we go. Look at that. Reece Holmes up into 4th place, and he's just about to pass number 55, the Wong new man, Jaden Carrick. So from a pit lane start, we had 4 bikes, and 2 of those bikes are in the top 3 now because Reece Holmes goes on the inside. Won a race in the wet at Timaru last year. No, it didn't. We won the dry race at Timaru. Seth won the wet race, and wow, tough conditions, but we're out there and doing it. John Ross, country mile ahead at the moment. In fact, he's 6-7 seconds quicker than anyone else on the track. 1:49.908 compared with 1:56.9. That's Seth Devereaux in 2nd. Seth would have had a bit of a slow moment there when he had that big slide there, but he's still upright, still doing it. Had a practice crash yesterday. Doesn't seem to have done his confidence, and that's good. That's the best result he's had this weekend so far, if he can keep it upright, Jake.
Yeah, exactly. Good on him. He's made the right choice, so hopefully he just keeps doing what he's doing and slowly chips away at John. But yeah, as long as he gets that 2nd place, it's a good result for him in his championship. And it looks like Al Hugi, the 2nd place man in the championship, just pulled into the pit, so unfortunately he's going to have to make a tyre change or something and hopefully get back out there and score some valuable points.
So you are allowed to pull into the pits and tyre change now?
Yes, I believe that's the rules. In these tough conditions, I don't see why you shouldn't be. Pretty dangerous out there on your super courses or your treaded tyres. So yeah, the right decision for Al, I think, to come in and do what he can do.
Toby Summers struggling there. He was early 2nd place, but now he's slipped back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th spot there, but he's a man with a good strong head on him. Raced in the UK for many, many years, come out to New Zealand, started off in, I think, in the motard class and went across to the 600, still a top runner in both the classes. Won the Suzuki Series for the Formula 2 class. They don't call it 600 Supersport there, it is the Formula 2 class there. He won it. There's the home show going through there. Reece Holmes just marginally in front of Jeremy Holmes. Both these guys were pit lane starters, and they're currently in 4th and 5th place, and Jaden 3rd and 4th, that's not bad. In fact, the 3 out of the 4 pit lane starters are in 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and that just shows you the experience. We were talking to Jake Lewis before, and just shows you the experience of the people.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Avalon Biddle's actually out there at the moment. She came into the pits, but doesn't look like she's gone out on track, so maybe a problem or tyre difficulty. That's a bit of a shame for her after unfortunate qualifying as well yesterday, which put her on the back of the grid, but she made her way through in the dry race, so hopefully she can try to get back out there, but yeah, see what her Repsol Suzuki team can do.
Yeah, she had a big crash there in the practice and had a poor qualifying there yesterday in the practice qualifying session, but that's the way it is. Those listening out there on CTAS, I think we have Toby Summers' daughters up in Auckland there listening. Amy is 3 and Ursula is 5, and hopefully they'll go and go daddy go daddy do. But he's actually out there on slick, so the game changer is the wets and dries. In fact, it looks like it stopped raining completely out there, so if the track dries out, what is the track temperature at the moment, Jake? Do you know what the track temperature is?
Oh, to be honest, I wouldn't know myself. It'd be pretty low at the moment, but with that wind, and hopefully there's a little bit of wind out there to help dry it up a bit. Yeah, so maybe these guys on the dry tyres can start trying to pull their way back forward, but it's going to be pretty difficult, I think.
So John Ross has got the entire front straight lead there. He'll be on full wets. Not too sure what Seth Devereaux's on, but okay, we've got it's a 15-lap race. We've got 13 laps to go. In fact, 12 laps to go. He's on wets. If it dries out, how fast are these tyres going to deteriorate? Should he be slowing down now and conserving those tyres, or should he just go for it and then wait till they're really destroyed, and or what?
Yeah, I don't think he needs to slow down too much. Just keep looking for the wetter areas of the track to keep them cool and in the right condition. He's allowed to put a new set on for the next race, so I think he'll just get the most out of these tyres and use them all up, and then yeah, he'll be right for the race. I think he's got a huge gap, so he just needs to stay calm and keep that lead.
Yeah, and he'll have his pit boards out there telling him how much he's got, and of course right now it's actually an 18-second lead. 18 seconds now, I think. That's a hell of a lead in just 3 laps. That's incredible, especially the level of this competition. I remember a few years ago the Red Devil racing bike of Nick Cole got a wet New Zealand Grand Prix, and I think he won the race, the whole race away by something like 23 seconds. Just showed us how much of a craftsman he is in the wet. That's Nick Cole when he won the New Zealand 600 Supersport Championships. But right now on the track we've got John Ross out in the front by country mile, Seth Devereaux followed by Jeremy Holmes, Reece Holmes, Jaden Carrick, Toby Summers on the Yamaha in 6th spot, James Hugan Boozum, bike number 85 in the 7th, Shea Williams followed by Nathan Diprose, Aaron Hassan, Rex Mincher, Daniel Medham, Andrew Evans and Al Hugan Boozum and Adam Chambers. In fact, Al Hugan Boozum's pulled in, and Adam Chambers I don't even think he's gone out. I did see one of the Wolfpack Racing Honda CBR 600s coming into the pit, and I'm just going to change mics and give it across to Scott Kinder and see how he's going to go, and we'll get back to Jake Lewis shortly. But Scotty there, welcome. What do you think of the conditions out there? What would you be doing?
Oh, full wets for sure, you know, play it safe, and if you wreck them, you wreck them. Like Jake said, you're allowed to put a new set on for the next race, so might as well use them up.
There is a tyre rule change this year where the Supersport 600s are limited to tyres in the dry. They're limited to, I think, 3 rears and 2 fronts, and that includes all the practice and qualifying sessions. That's a bit of a game changer. Some of the riders never went out in one of the practice sessions trying to conserve their tyres. Of course, once it's wet, they decide to put the wets on there. That's the thing. It was declared a wet race, was it? Didn't quite hear. In fact, probably not, because the rule is now if it's a wet race you must run a rear tail light. We see some of them out there going. I'm not sure, the officials haven't quite told us yet, and no jump starts. The big blackboard's down in the front there, no jump starts. So let's look at it again. I'll tell you what, who's the fastest man on the track? Jeremy Holmes. Jeremy Holmes here is posted a 1:45.587, so he's in 3rd place. Whereabouts is he on the track? We have to look out there.
Coming through the carousel now, he looks like he's closing up on Seth.
So here's a man on a mission, Jeremy Holmes. Now he's from Southland, so more days wet down there than dry, so here's a bit of a wet weather specialist, and Jeremy Holmes is closing in on Seth Devereaux. Didn't get a chance to catch up with what sort of tyres Seth was riding on. What would you suspect there, Jake? Yep, we believe that that Seth Devereaux's gone on to full wets. Here comes John Ross. Sorry, no, that's not John Ross. John Ross is coming onto the front straight.
Field on lap 5, is he?
Yeah, no. Okay, 11 laps to go. John Ross goes through the start-finish line, counting down, and it's now 10 laps to go. He's putting in a 1:48.439, so slowed down a couple of seconds. He obviously aware of his lead, and that got an early lead, and the entire front straight is a lead. There we go, one of the other pit lane starters, and that's number 16. Number 15, local man Andrew Evers, and his spanner man is Ian Templeton, who was formerly one of Andrew Stroud's track. That track looks like it's starting to get a bit of dry patches there, Scott Kinder.
Yeah, it's looking not so wet anymore along the front straight, and but there'll still be areas on the track where it's very wet, like the hairpin on the new seal will still be real slippery for these boys, and yeah, going through the next couple of corners after that as well, there's a bit of new seal down.
Impressive too. Difficult conditions at Hampton Downs, where I think we saw about 11 bikes go down in the full wet up there at the New Zealand Championships. I take my hat off to everyone out there at the moment. I don't think we've seen a crash in this class so far, and like I said before, nobody's actually practiced in these conditions, so good on all the boys and girls out there for using their level heads and keeping it all going. There goes the GJ Gardner Home sponsored bike of Jaden Carrick, currently sitting in 5th. We're looking around for Toby Summers coming onto the front straight. In fact, Toby Summers has slipped back a place maybe. It looks to me like James Hugenboosom's coming through there. That'll be James Hugenboosum, 43.
That's Al Hoogie.
That's Al Hoogie.
He's a lap down after coming in the change of twice.
Okay, he's a lap down, so he's on 14th spot. So Toby Summers on the R&R Power Sports, Bike Talk, Summers Plumbers, Metzler Tyre Shod, Botrill sponsored and by Chubu sponsored bike. Normally runs the number 777, but New Zealand Championships require 2 digits, so he's got to take one of his 7s off and put that in the corner. And it actually looks like he's starting to speed up there as well. He's on slick, so his wife and father are in the commentary box next to us and tell us that he is definitely on slicks here at Ruapuna, and it's drying out quite well. It's drying out quite well. So, Scotty, what about your race later on today?
Yeah, we'll look forward to it. Hopefully it's wetter again, so we can try get closer up the front. But yeah, it'll be what it'll be, and we'll just have to deal with it.
There's a problem for Al Hugenboosum. He's just pulled off to the side almost and let Summers Plummer's bike go through. Remember, there is a lap between these two people, so something going wrong with Al Hugenboosum's bike and slowing quite substantially. He probably needs to get off the track now, and we're looking out there as well. Reese Holmes goes through there. Reese Holmes is chasing Jeremy Holmes down, but Reese's quickest laps in the 50s. Wow, they were dicing together, and Jeremy Holmes has put in a scorcher at 1:44, 2 seconds quicker than anyone else in this race. Okay, John Ross got a big break at the beginning and has backed off there, but and conditions are changeable. So Jeremy Holmes, the Honda man from Southland, is doing well. Had a bit of a funny season last year. I can remember he had a huge crash at Hampton Downs and didn't finish quite in the championships where he wanted to, but never mind, he's back to have another go at it, supported by Southland Honda, and the family's up here, including, I think, his... I can't remember his daughter's name, but they're up here having a good weekend. GJ Gardner home. Jaden Carrick, he didn't have a good day yesterday. He said he got off the start line and he got rattled a bit. He said a couple of people sort of cut across in front of him and he just didn't have his head in the right place, and that cost him quite dearly. But right now he was getting valuable points in the 5th spot. Looking out too for John Ross.
He's coming out of the dip. If you just watch the gap on between 1st and 2nd, it's closing up by a little bit, but that shouldn't really trouble John. He's got a level head and he should just cruise home with this now, just manage his tyres.
Reese Holmes slowing substantially. He's on full wets now, and then of course the track is drying, so conditions are against some people. There goes John now. We'll see what sort of lap time he's running. Just a little bit quicker. The 1:47.3s as Shea Williams goes through on the Hendricks Blasting Supersport 600 bike. I don't even know what the bike is actually. It's not listed there, and I'm not going to look across into the program at the moment. So changeable conditions here. John Ross in the lead. Jeremy Holmes is still the quickest man on the track. He's gone through the start-finish line there. We're looking for Reese Holmes off into the distance. Actually, first of all, there goes that'll be Adam. Dan Metham. Dan Metham had a bit of a problem yesterday with they've done some engine work last night, and Dan Metham back on the track. Number 34, the man from Auckland. And Reese Holmes hunts him down. So Reese...
Jeremy Holmes here maybe. Back marks in the way this lap, but I think next lap Jeremy might try an inside pass there up into the hairpin. He looks quite strong under brakes.
He's hunting down Seth Devereaux, so we'll just go back to Jake Lewis if we can, and we'll just get Jake on there and see what he's been watching while we've been watching the action in different parts of the track. Jake, what do you see out there?
Yeah, definitely been watching Seth and Jeremy. Jeremy's just slowly chipping away at him, so he's definitely got the pace over him, but Seth's a hard man to pass, so we'll see what he can do. But yeah, I'm sure he'll be trying to use that lap traffic as well to make an opportunity and sneak on through for those 20 points.
Seth can see a country mile ahead of him, and I'm not sure what his pit board's telling him, but he is actually only about a second slower than Jeremy. Jeremy, the fastest man on the track, and we might see some fireworks. I'm expecting Jeremy Holmes to get through on them, but Seth will come back fighting. Seth will come back fighting, and he's on full wets as well, so he's certainly, he knows he can't get anywhere on the lead bike. He can't even probably see him, John Ross, out in the front, but he's certainly going to have his hands full in a minute when as they come along. They're coming around the big loop onto the front straight. It is Seth Devereaux in the lead in the second spot, certainly there, on bike number 11 on the Kawasaki machine, and Jeremy Holmes there. There's one of the Hugenboosums. I think that's James goes through there, and in fact that's Al Hugenboosum there. Slowed up earlier on, but has seemed to have sped up.
Yeah, once the rain stopped, the drying conditions, he's starting to pick up his pace, which is good. He's doing the right thing, just circulating, and he's in 14th place, so he can still get a couple of points. There's a long way to go in the championship, so no, he's got the right idea.
John Ross has got quicker. In fact, both of the boys have. Jeremy Holmes, the fastest man on the track a couple of laps ago, just into the 146s, 146.001, but both the first and second bike are in the 145.5s. So Seth Devereaux knows that he has to keep his head down because Jeremy Holmes is sitting there in behind him, and that we see them out on the track going through the S's there, the Fulton Hogan corner. It is Seth. There's probably about 10 to 12 bike lengths over and above him, so we wonder how he's whether he's looked over his shoulder or has Jeremy Holmes been close enough to allow him to hear him, and then Seth thinks, right, okay, I've got some competition here. It's not a lap rider. He hasn't lapped anyone for a while, so I've got to get me put my foot down. John Ross goes into towards the dipper there. Another nice lap there. His quickest time is a 1:45.550. In fact, that's just the last lap, so that's interesting. We expected on full wets that maybe later on they'd deteriorate, and still 7 laps to go. We're only roughly halfway through this race.
Yeah, John's actually doing a really good job. He's staying nice and consistent all throughout the race. Like you said, his fastest lap just on the last lap previous, so yeah, he's doing the right thing. He's just staying nice and smooth and looking after his tyres. He's still got good speed as well, so yeah, full credit to John. He's doing a good job for his championship.
So how did you go out in your race? It was spitting in that race. How much did it affect you? You're obviously well aware of your experienced rider and you can feel the spitting. How much did it affect you? And you had no practice here on that bike, and no one's had any practice in the wet here, so what were you thinking?
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous actually. I'd never ridden on the Pirelli super courses in the damp conditions, so it was hard work. I just eased my way in through the first few laps just to find a feel for the track and the tyres, and then started to chip away at Bailey, and yeah, eventually I felt confident and comfortable in the conditions, so I just pushed on a little bit more, and yeah, fortunately just got Bailey out of the last corner and dragged into the line, so a great win for me, my second for the weekend, so hopefully we can do it again in the next one.
Definitely. So, okay, what about when you're in the Pate European Cup? What sort of tyres did you run there? Were they a control tyre or?
Yeah, Pirelli is the control tyre for the World Superbike Championship. So the Junior Cup, we were actually running the same tyres, Pirelli Supercourses. So yeah, great tyre overall. They use them in World Supersport and the stock classes, and then Superbikes obviously using the Pirelli slicks. So yeah. I had a bit of time on Supercourses, but we usually get wet tyres when it starts to rain, so as in the 250 rules here, that's a production class, so you run your production tyres in the wet conditions. And you were joined over there for some of your tour and went and stayed with Simon Crayfer, a former New Zealand 600, this very class, former New Zealand champion, and he was one of our men that went to the World Superbikes and had a career in World Superbikes that was incredible. Never got a win, unfortunately. We got many second and third places on the Kawasaki, rode a Honda at one stage, and then he went to Donington, I think it was Donington on the Grand Prix bikes. He moved on to Grand Prix, went to Donington and had an absolutely amazing win over and above the likes of Mick Doohan. So Simon Crayfer might be listening in here as well this weekend. How much of an influence on your European Junior Cup was he? Oh, definitely a big help, like you say, with all his experience in World Superbike and MotoGP 500 Grand Prix. he definitely knows a lot. So for his knowledge, for him sharing that with me throughout the season and just watching me at every circuit and where maybe I could improve in parts was a big help. And yeah, I don't think I would have been able to have the success I had without him on the side. So yeah, hopefully Simon, we can work together again in the season coming. And yeah, he's been a great help.
And he's a good bastard, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. No, great guy. Just wants to help out anyone that comes along. He's great with the young guys coming through. All the younger riders in the Junior Cup that sort of their first season in Europe. He yeah, do as much as he can to make them improve, and he loves seeing the young guys smile when they beat their personal best or whatever they've done. So.
All right, we've got 5 laps left in the 600 Supersport race, and John Ross seems to be, the gap is certainly not what it was before. At one stage he had an 18-second gap, and that was after, I think, about lap 3, but he's slowing down. Seth Devereaux's picked up the pace a bit because we talked about Jeremy Holmes knocking on his back door in there, but he's sort of picked up the pace, and there's now probably 150, 180 metres between first and second place, and probably 60 metres between second and third, so 5 laps to go. I don't know, you got any predictions there, Jake?
Oh, you never know with Seth. He's got John in his sights now, so he'll have his head down, but not long to go. We'll see what he can do. It looks like he's about a second or second and a half quicker than John on that last lap, so if he keeps doing what he's doing and just stays sensible and keeps his head, he might be able to reel him in.
Yeah, definitely, and Jeremy Holmes is certainly going through there now. Well, I say that, and Seth Devereaux is now 3 seconds a lap quicker than John Ross, so 4 laps to go, 3 seconds quicker, and there's only so according to this, is a 3.5 second gap there, so wow, this is changing. I'll tell you what, John Ross has still lost nothing there. He goes in, rakes hard into the hairpin and that, but Seth's closed that gap up and something like 4 seconds a lap quicker, so wow. Jeremy Holmes loses a bit of pace there. Well, he doesn't lose much. He's I think Seth's just upped the ante and gained it. 15 lap race here for the Supersport 600 and the Superbikes as well. The rest of the races of the day are 8 laps except for the development class and clubmans, which are just 5. New Zealand Grand Prix titles coming up later. In fact, I think they're a 20-lap race. Indeed they are. They're a 20-lap race, so hopefully the weather conditions sort of stay away. And look, there's plenty of dry patches on that track at the moment, so those out there in wets with another 3 or 4 laps to go will be struggling. We're looking out at Jeremy Holmes is coming in on Seth Devereaux, still in third place, passing a lapper there. The lapper knows he's there, but Seth closing in the gap on John Ross, and John Ross is just going to pull his finger out of somewhere to make this one happen.
Yeah, John's going to see on his pit bull when he comes down the straight that the gap has closed up considerably, so yeah, I'd say Larry down on the pit board will be giving him the times. John's a smart guy, he'll use his head, and if he needs to push a little bit harder, I'm sure he will, but yeah, Seth's not going to give up, that's for sure. You can see him closing in, so...
Avalon Biddle unfortunately pulled into the pits on Supersport bike number 21. Going down and talk to Avalon. She's got some fundraising calendars for sale. A beautiful photo by Sports Photos taken here at Ruapuna, and I'll tell you what, if you buy one of those calendars, I'm sure you'll be able to get the young lady to put her little wee autograph on there, and that's an autograph that's going to be worth something in a few years. Avalon had a lot of experience in the overseas in Italy and around the European tracks for the last couple of years. Shame she's not out on the track, but there's still another race later on today. We're looking over at the hairpin there, and Seth Devereaux on that last lap was only 1 second quicker, so John Ross has picked up the pace. In fact, he set his fastest lap. He'll be reading his pit boards, know what he's got to do. He went out and got a country mile ahead, something like 18 seconds in the first 3 laps, and it's all about conserving tyres now. I would suspect that's the main thing, but pretty well sure both these front guys are on wets, and I'd say Jeremy Holmes definitely. In fact, the 2 guys second and third had pulled up and got a pit lane start, and that's because they looked at the conditions. It was quite a decent shower as they were warming up, and they elected to go and get their wet bike. So good thinking them. It looks like it's paying off as well for these guys. Pit lane start, you might be behind the 8 ball, but certainly not. And we had the other pit lane starter in third spot as well at one stage, and that's Reece Holmes, in fact, 4th spot, sorry. So John Ross out in the front. The gap is closing up. There's probably a second in it. Seth Devereaux, in a minute or so, John will start to hear that bike and have to pull his finger out. Well, he's pulled his finger out already. On lap 12, he got his fastest lap. We're watching them come round the big sweeper. There's now about 15 metres between them, coming round a lapper. The lapper's doing all the right thing. John Ross goes on the inside, and so does Seth Devereaux. We'll look at the split. At the moment, it was 2.178 seconds last time round, and now we're down to 8.828. So Not enough time there, not enough gap there, a small enough gap there for Seth Devereaux to come in and slipstream John. Probably doesn't need to too much at the moment around most of the track. The only really place that the slipstreaming matters, I think, is down the front straight. But there it is. John Ross has opened the tap up a bit. John Ross has worked out what's happening and opened the tap up a bit. Seth Devereaux's pretty good through pothole here. And Jeremy Holmes there, a good solid third place, sitting there and watching it from a distance. He'll be running his own race. Third place from pit lane is pretty damn good. And likewise a second. The gap closes up on the hairpin. Where's the passing going to happen, do you think, Jake Lewis, if there is any passing?
Oh, to be honest, you want to keep it nice and safe. So like you say, off the end of the straight or maybe into the hairpin, you want to keep it upright on the brakes in these dodgy conditions on your torn up wets. But
rain's coming back too.
Yeah, it looks like it, so it's going to make it even more interesting for them. But no, they'll be right. They'll just keep doing what they're doing, and yeah, we'll see what the outcome is.
2 laps to go. 2 laps to go in the first race of the 600 Supersport, sponsored by the local Yamaha dealer, Trevor Pierce Yamaha. Here we go, lap rider for the leaders there, and that's cost John Ross. He had to balk a bit there, but and Seth Devereaux's closed up the gap. There's 1 or 2 bike lengths in there. They're going to go into the dipper almost side by side, and we're coming across, I think that is Dan Metham, number 34, another lap rider. That won't play much of a part there. He's going into the sweeper now, but has the lead changed? Can't quite see through there. No, Seth's still in second spot. The bright King Kawasaki, bike number 11. Nothing in it here at the moment. 2 laps to go. In fact, I think the white flag, the white flag's coming out. We're ready to surrender, and the rain is getting heavy. The rain is definitely getting heavy. That is Dan Meddon going through. It is John Ross. 8:28 was the last gap. It is now 0.332 seconds, and Seth Devereaux is about half a second quicker there on the track. So look at that, all fireworks here. Jeremy Holmes comes through there in the 3rd spot there. He's settled for 3rd spot. I think we're looking out for Reece Holmes on the John Tuhoy Racing sponsored Metzler shot, I think, Yamaha R6, another pit lane starter. There goes...
Yeah, just looking at Seth, he closed up through pothole there. Hopefully he can do the same under brakes. He'll close in on John and then try to get the exit out of the hairpin and the run down to the sharp right-hander. We'll see what he can do.
Reece Holmes having problems. Reece Holmes having quite a major problem there. It was Jaden Carrick come through there, so not sure what's going on there, but he's continuing on there at race place. He goes into the big sweeper coming on the front straight, so we're not pulling over. So look out for the speed there. There's about 1 to 2 bike lengths in it. Opens up to about 4 bike lengths. It's still the Repsol Suzuki of John Ross, number 1. He wears that number because he's a current New Zealand champion. Number 11, Seth Devereaux sitting in there, both on wet tyres. The rain has come along and it stopped just for this last lap. What's it going to be? 2 bike lengths in it. Jeremy Holmes is not too far off the pace there. No chance of catching it unless these guys do some damage.
Seth's gone for a dive up the inside of John.
What do you reckon about that one? He's got it though. He's got it. That's
very hard but fair move on Seth. He got right up there, so no, good on him. Well done, and it looks like he's pulled enough of a gap to take his first win of the season, and I think his 3rd in 600 Supersport class. So
still a couple of corners to go, so we'll see what's going on. Seth Devereaux comes round the sweeper, had an absolutely excellent 600cc win at Timaru in the second round of the New Zealand Championships last year, and he's coming through, and he got one at Hampton Downs in the wet. There you go, Seth Devereaux for the checkered flag, but not for the wanting trying for John Ross there. Seth Devereaux got a 1:45.399 then. There goes Jeremy Holmes on the Honda. 2 of those guys pit lane starters. Here we go, Daniel Metham is a lap rider there on the Wolfpack Racing Honda CBR 600. Going through there, that'll be a lapper there. That's number 88, sorry, Nathan DeProse. So still looking out for a bit of a...
Yeah, and James Hoogie and Toby Summers down in 6th and 7th are still having a good battle. Hopefully James can